GCFR, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, represented by His Excellency, the distinguished Senator George Akume, CON, Secretary of the Your Excellency, you're welcome. Let me also acknowledge the presence of members of the National Assembly who are here today. First off is the distinguished Adam Jarigbe, Chairman, Senate Committee Gas. Distinguished, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. We'd like to also acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Ministers of State, Petroleum Resources for Oil and Gas. First off is distinguished Senator Heineken Lekbobri, Oil. And the Right Honorable Ekperikwe Ekpo Gas. Honorable Ministers, you're welcome. The Special Advisor on Energy to the President, Mr. Bahain, represented by Mrs. Erie Onogorowa. Permanent Secretary, Minister of Petroleum Resources, Ambassador Nicholas Agboela, Esquire. The Commission Chief Executive, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, FNSA. Other heads of agencies, sister agencies who have joined us here today, in person or represented. I've acknowledged some of you. Let's also acknowledge the presence here of the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC, Mr. Mele Kiari, OFR. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Chairman of OPTS and all OPTS member MDs who are here this morning. We'd like to also acknowledge the Chairman who is represented of IPPG and all other IPPG member companies. We acknowledge the Chairman of HES Group, Mr. Tony Elumelu. And we acknowledge every other managing director of the service companies, international and local or independents who are here joining us this morning. We acknowledge all partners of the oil and gas industry who are committed to ensuring the true development of an additional 1 million barrels today. Our executive commissioners of the NUPRCs, led on this occasion by the chairman of the committee, Engineer Onase Amadasu. We welcome you, distinguished invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is the commemoration of the 3rd year anniversary of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, the one we refer to as the Commission. And most importantly, the launch of the Project 1 Million Barrel Per Day initiative. An initiative that is seeking to add additional 1 million barrel plus to our current oil production that is hovering between 1.5 and 1.7. In the next few minutes or hours, you would hear the Commission speak to us as an industry and as a nation, as I'm aware Nigerians are watching us live on television, as to the importance of this initiative. Moving on swiftly, I would now like to welcome for the opening remarks the Executive Commissioner, Development and Production of the NUPRC. Please welcome with me, Engineer Onase Amadasu. And of course, we acknowledge our service chiefs. I've acknowledged them earlier. We acknowledge them once again. We welcome all of you. Thank you all for joining us.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good morning, sirs, man, ladies and gentlemen. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, ably represented by the Secretary of Government to the Federation, Senator George Akume, CON, the Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Oil, His Excellency Chief Heineken Lekbobri, the Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Gas, His Excellency Right Honorable Ekperikwe Ekpo, distinguished Senator, Chairman of Industry Committees, Honorable Members and Chairman of Industry Committees, Service Chiefs, GCO, L, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Commission Chief Executive, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, the management and staff of the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, it is indeed my profound honor and privilege to welcome you, Mr. President, sir, and the Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Oil and Gas, to this historic event. I would also like to welcome all legislators, heads of government agencies, eminent industry practitioners, and other esteemed guests who have joined us to mark a significant moment in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. We are particularly enthroned by the illustrious presence of Mr. President to officially launch the Project 1 million barrels of oil per day initiative, which is an industry collaborative effort for incremental 1 million barrels per day and associated gas production within 12 to 24 months time frame. We are gathered here to create history, and our special thanks go to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFRO, for his executive charge of increasing oil and gas production and for creating the enabling environment for business and operation to thrive to support a vibrant national economy. The entire oil and gas industry owes Mr. President a debt of gratitude for his responsiveness and decisiveness in changing the fortunes of the industry for the benefit of all participants and in the overall national interest. Based on the presidential mandates and the ministerial delivery priorities, the Commission, working with industry stakeholders, has articulated an industry action framework towards realization of the 1 million barrels of oil incremental initiative. The roadmap will form the basis for the deliberation and commitment by industry CEOs towards the realization of government aspiration for the sector. Today, we will optimize the framework and co-create the implementation modalities for the successful takeoff and full execution of the initiative. Your Excellency, sir, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have no iota of doubt that under the committed leadership of the Honorable Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Oil and Gas, the upstream industry now has the collaborative platform to interact, cooperate, and collaborate on salient industry issues that hitherto were impediments to increasing production and value optimization from the sector. Above all, we are grateful to Mr. President's visionary leadership and stewardship to drive Nigeria's energy security and economic sustainability agenda. Your how to this national cause, Mr. President, is inspiring and infectious. We as an industry therefore commit to working with you in this intriguing joining of national building. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I once again heartily welcome you to the official launch of Project 1 million barrels of oil per day on the NUPRC 3rd anniversary, as we look forward to a purposeful event with a valuable insights that will shape the future of upstream petroleum sector in Nigeria. Thank you, and accept the sincere appreciation of the Commission Chief Executive, Engineer Gbenga Komolafe, who wish you all a warm welcome. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Engineer Onase Amadasu. He is the Executive Commissioner Development and Production and the team lead from the commission that has put this together today. Let's please hear one more round of applause for him, setting the tone for what is to follow in the next few hours. Let me also acknowledge members of the diplomatic community who are here. Warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being great business partners with our country, between our country and your respective countries. Thank you very much. Moving on swiftly now, we are going over to goodwill messages. As I said earlier, to every distinguished speaker in this goodwill message space, please kindly, very kindly keep to the time as I will communicate with you. Let's begin by going to the rich chambers of the National Assembly and make welcome the Chairman, Senate Committee Upstream Gas, the distinguished Senator Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe. Now, yes, please. Let's put our hands together for him. Thank you very much.
Okay. This Chairman, Senate Committee on Gas, not Upstream.
Senate Committee on Gas, thank you.
The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, here represented by our Amiable Secretary to Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, CON, the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Oil, the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Gas, my own minister, Right Honorable Ekperipe Epo, the Service Chiefs, the Group CEO, NNPCL, the CCE, NUPRC, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Petroleum Resources, invited stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you felicitations from the National Assembly. My other colleagues are unavoidably absent because they traveled out of Abuja, but I'm here to represent all of us. Today marks a pivotal milestone in the development of our oil and gas industry. And I particularly align myself with this year's theme: transformation, innovation, and excellence. Innovation brings about growth. Transformation brings about growth. Innovation brings about future success, while excellence is a benchmark for global competitiveness. On that note, I think NUPRC is on course. And as the National Assembly, we are aligned fully with you and will support you. We wish all of us a history event and journey mercies as we go back home. Thank you very much.
Now, that's a true oversight function. Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Jarigwe Agom Jarigwe, the chairman. Okay, sound better, yeah. The chairman, Senate Committee, Gas. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Speaking on behalf of all of his colleagues from the National Assembly. Moving on swiftly now. We're moving on swiftly now to our next goodwill speaker, the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ikechukwu Emmanuel Ogala, for his own goodwill. Let's put our hands together as we welcome the Vice Admiral.
Thank you very much. The special guest of honor, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ably represented here by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume. Please permit me to stand on existing protocol for want of time. I've been warned here that I have just 3 minutes. It is an honor to speak to this distinguished audience on this 3rd anniversary celebration of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, and also the launching of the project Additional 1 Million Barrels of Oil per Day. Let me appreciate the Chief Executive Officer of NUPRC for inviting me to this event. The event is coming at a time when we are all focusing effort to ensure improved productivity within the oil and gas sector. I commend the Chief Executive, therefore, and his team for this vision. I also commend your efforts in improving the ease of doing business within the upstream oil and gas sector for economic prosperity of our dear nation. Nigeria's oil and gas sector, as we all know, contributes significantly to our foreign revenue and gross domestic product. The sector's infrastructures and economic activities are mostly domiciled in the maritime environment. And when I say the maritime environment, I mean the inland waters, the territorial waters, the exclusive economic zone, and the continental shelf. That is where most of our oil and gas resources infrastructure are domiciled. But we note that these infrastructures are subject to various security threats within the maritime environment. Some of these threats include pipeline vandalism, oil theft, piracy and sea robbery, as well as deliberate sabotage of oil and gas infrastructure. In order to curb these security challenges, enhanced cooperation and collaboration is required between the industry players and security agencies. I must therefore commend the Commission for this effort of enhancing stakeholders' engagement to ameliorate these challenges that are facing all of us. In line with our statutory roles, the Nigerian Navy carries out maritime security operations to ensure a safe and secured maritime environment. This is in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution and the Armed Forces Act, which mandates us to ensure maritime security for national economic prosperity in collaboration with other agencies. Recently, the Commission approved the request to allow naval personnel to be deployed to various oil and gas terminals to monitor activities of vessels loading at these terminals. We are grateful to the Commission for this request that was approved. This, among several other collaborative engagements, would ensure that the Commission achieve its objective of additional 1 million barrels per day project. I assure you that the Nigerian Navy will continue to carry out its statutory roles to enhance a safe and secure maritime environment in line with the President, Commander-in-Chief's renewed hope agenda for prosperity, for poverty eradication in our dear country. We remain your trusted partners, and we know that we cannot do it alone. And that is why our efforts these days are focusing on what we call the whole of society approach, by taking all the stakeholders into confidence in the performance of our duties. I must also state that the Nigerian Navy cannot equally do it alone without your contribution. We require the contribution of collaboration of all security agencies, all industry players, and even the community for us to achieve this laudable objective of getting to this additional 1 million barrels of oil per day. We therefore remain resolute, and we promise that we are going to walk the talk in collaboration with our sister agencies to make sure that this objective is achieved. On this note, I felicitate with the NUPRC on this milestone of 3-year anniversary and reassure everyone here of the commitment of the Nigerian Navy to support the project. Thank you all, and God bless you. As we say in the Nigerian Navy, onward together.
Onwards together, because we are committed to walk the talk and collaborate with all we need to collaborate with. And that is the Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ikechukwu Ogala, the Chief of Naval Staff. Let's hear one more round of applause for him. Moving on swiftly to our next goodwill speaker. He's worked with the security agencies to curb oil theft and also increase production. Let's now welcome the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited. Let's welcome Mr. Mele Kyari, OFR.
He reminded me that it would be 3 minutes, and I told him I'll be shorter than that. And Excellency, represented by Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. So let me cut all the other protocols. Everybody is here, and I'd like to thank everyone for the opportunity to stand before you. When you produce oil, you must evacuate it. We today know that there are 2 challenges that we have: integrity issues and also issue of vandal actions. And the government, security agencies, and all other structures of government are responding to this in collaboration with all of us in the industry, particularly the NUPRC. and the Honorable Minister is leading this. And we're seeing clear results. But we also know that we're dealing with infrastructure that are over 50 years older than most people in this room, and they are almost going to their spent life. And we are rising to this as NNPC Limited, that without replacing those infrastructure, you cannot evacuate the additional 100 million barrels that we're going to produce, particularly on the onshore assets. And we thank the NUPRC for supporting us through this, and we know that this is the way to go. This is a legacy that this president will leave, as good as creating the infrastructure at the beginning of oil production in this country. And as we are doing this, we're also proud beneficiaries of the massive reforms that are taking place in the NUPRC. And I congratulate my brother, Engineer Komolafe, for doing a great job of being an inclusive system, engaging all of us, and carrying everyone along, leading to where we are today. Even as NNPC Limited today, we are proud to be regulated. We are happy we are obeying all the rules, and the outcomes are coming, and in very not long time to come, we'll see the real results that are coming up. And we are part of this. We are part of the additional 1 million barrels, or the new 1 million barrels that we are going to produce, and we'll join him. And of course, as you all know, we'll be part of the 90% of those who will collaboratively produce this, we as NNPC Limited and our partners. Thank you very much for this opportunity and privilege.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mele Kyari, OFR. You indeed kept to the time and pledging that commitment. What they are willing and committed to do as NNPC is work with all and being themselves regulated by the regulator. Let's hear one more round of applause for our GCEO, Mr. Kyari. Thank you. We're moving on swiftly now to our next goodwill speaker. He is the chairman of Hess Holdings, the chairman Transcorp Group, the chairman United Bank for Africa Group, and most importantly, the founder of a foundation that has empowered thousands of Africa, creating millions of jobs in the last decade or so. Let's welcome Mr. Tony Elumelu, CFR.
When your time there. My big brother, Senator George Akume, the Secretary to the Federal Government of Nigeria, representing our President. Good morning, sir. Again, let me please stand on the existing protocol. First, I'd like to start by congratulating Engineer Komolafe and his team for this great occasion. As chairman of Hess Energies, an integrated and indigenous energy group, playing a key role in facilitating energy sufficiency in Nigeria, and as chairman of United Bank for Africa, one of Africa's few truly global financial institutions, which provides substantial funding across the energy value chain, amounting to several billions of US dollars to both indigenous and international oil and gas operators and oil trading companies. I stand before you at the intersection of finance and energy, two pillars that are very critical to our nation's prosperity. Today's theme, transformation, innovation, and excellence, resonates deeply with the challenges and opportunities facing our country's energy space. I therefore commend the transformative and bold initiative of NUPRC, the project 1 million barrels of oil per day. We must, all of us, acknowledge the elephant in the room. Nigeria's oil production has been on a downward trajectory, falling from peaks of over 2 million barrels per day to recent lows below just 1.5 million a day. This decline translates to lost revenues, reduced global market share, and missed opportunities for national development. The root causes are multifaceted. Most of us know them: aging infrastructure, security challenges in Niger Delta, stalled investments, regulatory uncertainties, and the global shift towards renewable energy that has compounded the investment climate and challenge. These factors combined threaten the very foundation of our economy as we are heavily dependent on oil. As a nation, we cannot permit this to continue and squander our inheritance and betray our next generation. This is where this project, 1 million barrel project, is so critical, a crucial part of the solution to unlocking the next phase of our national development. By targeting to grow this level, I believe it is achievable. It just takes all stakeholders at the table to work together and commit to this happening, and I'm sure it will happen. But to sustain this initiative, we should go beyond just increasing production. It should catalyze a comprehensive strategy to revitalize our entire upstream sector. Infrastructure modernization, security enhancement, regulatory streamlining, investment attraction, technology, etc. But we must also focus on gas, because as we embark on this ambitious project to boost our oil production, gas is very critical. We know that the importance of gas is critical in driving and powering our country's industrialization. And that also is what we need to create jobs and to eliminate or reduce poverty in our country. So gas is also very, very important. Let me, therefore, commend NUPRC for the groundwork they have laid. Engineer Komolafe and team, your efforts in promoting sustainable practices, such as Nigerian gas flare commercialization program, exemplify the innovation required to balance environmental stewardship with economic growth. These initiatives not only reduce our carbon footprint, but also create valuable opportunities for our workforce and communities. At S Energies, we are actively contributing to this solution. In the first 100 days after we took over operation of OML 17 assets in 2021, we doubled our production from 28,000 barrels per day to over 50,000 barrels per day. However, we suffered a setback with unabated crude theft, which caused us to cut back and, in fact, shut in totally. From a low of, and then I complained, and I recall that the group manager of NNPC, Mele, called me 2-3 times from London. And let me just say that collaboratively with NNPCL, we have made progress. From a low of 5% terminal receipt in December 2021, year to date, in 2024, we have recorded an average terminal receipt of 85%. This is a remarkable improvement and a good example of what a purposeful collaboration between NNPCL and operators underpinned by rigorous execution can deliver. With improvement in the operating environment, we have started our investment and production growth journey again and have now successfully reversed the fall in production that we suffered in 2022 and 2023 as a consequence of the evacuation challenges. A few days ago, just on Wednesday last week, we finally attained over 51,000 barrels per day, and we continue our production growth trajectory. Related, therefore, is, again, what I said before about gas, but these achievements indicate what is possible where there's a strong industry collaboration and in particular where regulatory support meets private sector drive and innovation. S Energies provides the sectoral expertise needed to transform our oil and gas sector, and our UBA group has long remained a committed funding institution on this journey of transformation. As a global financial institution, United Bank of Africa UBA positioned not just across Africa, but in New York, in London, in Dubai, and in Paris, has been committed to providing the necessary funding and financial expertise to support both established players and emerging indigenous companies in reaching our collective goals and implementing the solutions we have outlined. I therefore want to use this opportunity to call for collaboration to the international oil companies present today I urge increased collaboration with indigenous firms, firms that have proven, such as energies, that have taken your traditions of best practice and global standards and integrated them into proudly indigenous capabilities, and others are truly capacitized partners you can work with. And by combining your global expertise with our local knowledge and commitment, we can drive innovation and excellence across the entire value chain, effectively addressing the challenges we face. As I wrap up, let me say that this 1 million barrel target at incremental production is a national imperative and a comprehensive solution to the challenges facing our oil and gas sector, and most importantly, our country's economy. It embodies the transformation we seek, the innovation we need, and the excellence we must achieve. NUPRC's leadership in this endeavor is commendable, and I call upon every stakeholder here today to rally behind this vision. From my experience in other sectors that Holdings Group invests in, I can say that no sector develops without a strong regulatory environment and institution. Some years ago, under President Obasanjo, when Soludo embarked on banking industry reform, there was a lot of political pressure on the president then to slow him down for the reform. But the president was steadfast with that reform. And today, Nigeria benefits and enjoys the benefit of that transformation. Similarly, I see a similar thing happening in the oil and gas sector. And with NUPRC, we must realize that a country that really wants to change things must do things differently. And on this note, I want to commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Secretary of Federal Government, please help pass this commendation to our President, for his steadfast support and commitment to strengthening NUPRC as the oil sector regulator. This is much needed if we must achieve the total transformation of Nigerian oil and gas sector. Together, we can build an energy sector that not only meets Nigeria's needs, but also positions us as a leader in Africa's energy transition. Let us move forward with courage, creativity, and unwavering commitment to excellence, turning the challenges we face into opportunity for growth and prosperity. Thank you, and very well done, Engineer Komolawe, for your courageous and visionary leadership. Here is to a future of transformation, innovation, and shared prosperity for all Nigerians. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony O. Elumelu, CFR. Thank you so much. Let's please give him another round of applause. Thank you so very much. All right, so we're moving on swiftly. Our next goodwill speaker comes from a group who together they can boldly say that they account for over 85% of the current leadership within the Nigerian independent oil and gas space. They have built these capacities by serving the country, and these capacities have gone to establish businesses that is serving the country, and that is the Oil Producers Trade Section. Let's welcome their chairman, who is also the managing director of SPDC and chair of the Shell companies in Nigeria. Let's welcome Mr. Osagie Okumbo.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, very ably represented here by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator Akume, CON. Let me please stand on the already established protocol. I bring felicitations and goodwill from the Oil Producers Trade Section. As you heard, collectively, we are responsible for well over 80% of our country's production, together, of course, with our lead partner, the NNPC. We want to thank Engineer Komolafe and the NUPRC family for putting this forum together. It's a great forum that has pretty much every player in the industry. But I also want to thank you for extending it, in particular, to our security chiefs, because there isn't much we can do in this industry without them. So I really want to thank you for this very collaborative effort. We believe this session is long overdue, and I want to pledge on behalf of the OPTS our strong collaboration to seeing to the realization of this additional 1 million barrels per day of production. We look forward to a very engaging session over the next few hours to all assure ourselves how we will get there. Thank you very much.
Next up is the group leading the charge today in shallow water and onshore, the Independent Petroleum Producers Group, the IPPG. The chairman, Alhaji Abdul Rasak Isa, as I said earlier, is unable to join us. Let's welcome Alhaji Abdullah Buka, director with Frontier Oil.
President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ably represented by Senator Akume, Secretary of State of the government. I'd like to stand on all existing protocols and deliver this speech, which should have been done by the President of IPPG, Abdul Razak Utefa, who is unavoidably absent, still in service of producing more oil. So on behalf of the Independent Petroleum Producers Group, it is my pleasure to join you here today and convey the goodwill message on this occasion, the third anniversary of the NUPRC, as well as the launching of the 1 million barrels initiative. Let me begin by congratulating and commending the Commission under the leadership of Engineer Banga Komolafe, FNSC, for the tireless efforts and unwavering commitment for the growth and development of the industry as a whole. The Commission has made notable strides in the establishment and particularly in the diligent implementation of the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act. And since its establishment, there has been quite a lot of effort to ensure that the implementation is beneficial to all people who it affects and to the country in general. It is also noteworthy to comment on the industry-wide consultations and the engagement that have taken place in the process of formulating industry regulations. This approach has not only been proactive, but has promoted inclusivity and ensured robust industry regulation. This collaborative and also all-inclusive approach is a welcome development and required for the industry to thrive. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today, it is important we put the achievements in perspective with the evolution of the global and domestic landscape and the underlying challenges facing us as a nation. Today, our current crude oil production is 1.4 million barrels per day and remains very low and hugely inadequate to meet the energy requirements and socio-economic goals of the nation. Thus, it is critical that our upstream sector urgently reposition, and for this reason, the IPPG will continue to strongly advocate for steps aimed at arresting the dwindling production. Specifically, we reiterate our call on urgent action aimed at unlocking incremental production growth in the short and medium term. These include concluding all pending IOC divestment transactions swiftly to drive optimum value from these transactions, unlocking hurdles for final investment decisions on IOCs in the Deepwater project, enhancing security across the Niger Delta for conducive operating environment and stemming incidences of asset vandalism and unrest, and upgraded expected the industrial infrastructure to enhance efficiency. Having stated this, it is also very heartwarming that we are talking about the project 1 million barrels per day additional production. It should be remembered, it's not only to be added, it is to be sustained, so that when we come to the 5-year celebration, we can be talking of producing 3 million barrels per day. The success of this initiative will take our production to 2.5 million, thus putting us in the position to meeting our domestic crude oil demand and export commitments. This is definitely a step in the right direction. In addition, it is imperative certain incentives and relaxations of certain positions are put in place to achieve this noble goal of the oil production increase. Specifically, we need to look at those things in detail together with the Commission and in subsequent meetings to make sure that we'll be able to deliver in time. We must also not forget, as we produce more oil, we will also produce more associated gas, which also has to be addressed. But there may be some issues that will have to be tackled separately. And also, we should remember, oil and gas fields go together. And we also need, maybe in the future, to be talking of the next one, which is how to enhance and produce 2 to 3 billion million cups of gas per day to meet our national demand, as has been said, for the industrial development of the country. Achieving this goal requires concerted effort from all industry stakeholders, policy formulators, regulators, and operators, working in unison towards achieving our shared goal of producing growth and energy security. As always, IPPG stands ready to support and partner with the government and all industry stakeholders for the growth and development of our industry. Once again, on behalf of the IPPG, I congratulate the leadership and management of NUPRC on the 3rd anniversary, and also for launching the 1 million barrels per day initiative. And I wish you all success and success to all of us. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Abdullah Buka, Director at Frontier Oil, representing Alhaji Abdul Rasak Isa, the Chairman of IPPG, who's also the Chairman of Watersmith. Let's please give them another round of applause. Thank you. From producers, I'm switching gears now to service companies. And our next speaker has been pledging commitment of his company and those of the entire members of the organization which he chairs, a group of indigenous service providers known as the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria. They've been pledging their services to help increase production. Let us welcome their chairman, who is also the managing director of Geoplex, Mr. Wole Ogunsoya.
His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Commander of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented by the Secretary to the Federal Government, Senator George Akume. I will ask that you allow me to stand by the existing protocol. I think we've had enough standing on it, so I'll stand by it. For us in Petan, it's pretty straightforward. We are an association of indigenous service providers that was built capacity for the past 30 years. In fact, this year, Petan will turn 30 years since we started it. For 30 years, we've been creating value along the value chain of the upstream sector. Today, we have over 100 members. Many of these members were into midstream. Some are in downstream. We're doing gas processing within Petan today. The annual revenue of Petan companies is in the region of $3 billion. So I want us to understand what we are doing in Petan, the capacity that we have built, and how that will support this initiative. I want to congratulate my brother, Engineer Komalafe. Petan, by the way, have been supporting NUPRC in a lot of the programs they're doing. So this is a no-brainer for us. To come up with this idea of producing 1 million barrels of oil to add to what we currently have, it's the way to go. It's even better than doing marginal field. These oil fields are already there. The production is there. The reasons why we're not producing them or we're not where we are, my GCO enumerated it, the security challenges, the infrastructure, and thank God we have the leaders of the military here to support us. In Petan, we are committing that the capacity to produce this 1 million barrels of oil is within Nigeria. It's important that we understand that, yes, you are going to bring fund. Yes, we're going to take care of the infrastructure and the security, but the equipment that will produce these 1 million barrels resides in Nigeria, and that capacity resides within the Petan companies. And I will also take us back memory lane. This 1 million barrels will raise the production to about 2.4 million barrels per day. We've done this before. In 1994, this country was producing 2.25 million barrels of oil. In 2005, we reached our peak of 2.6 million barrels of oil per day. Between the year 2011 to 2015, our average production was above 2 million barrels. So we know how to do this. And I want to commit Petan, to NUPRC, that we are ready to support you in this journey. We're ready to bring initiatives. When it comes to funding, Petan companies are ready to subsidize their services. If a project is $100 million, Petan company will execute that project at $50 million, funding. And of course, we take a reward. We are not working for charity. So the remaining $50 million, we're going to get it back from production. And we're ready to do that. And of course, I'm sure my brother will give us a little bit of incentive on that money that will leave on the table for a while. So I want to congratulate you for this initiative. I know the honorable ministers are behind it, and I want to thank them for the support they have been giving to Petan. The honorable minister for oil mentioned this in Houston at the OTC, that he is ready to look at oil fields that are lying fallow and to make sure that we can get the barrels out of this. I think this initiative is part of all that, and thank you very much for inviting Petan. Thank you.
From that group of indigenous service providers, we're moving on now to the group of international service providers who also build capacity of most of the indigenous service companies in the services space. And that is the Petroleum Contractors Trade Section, whose chairman, Mrs. Rosario Osobase, who doubles as the managing director of Tenaris as well, is not here this morning, but representing her is an executive director from Halliburton. Let's welcome Oke Okoli.
His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ably represented by the Secretary for the Federal Government of Nigeria, Senator George Akume. Standing on existing protocol, I stand here, I would have actually been happy to have our chairperson here because that would have been the first lady to talk today. So I think the ladies should give us a round of applause. So I stand here on behalf of PCTS. I stand here on behalf of technology. I stand here on behalf of a set of 8 companies that understands the Niger Delta. The average years these 8 companies have spent is well over 60 years. That means we know the country, we understand the Delta, and we bring technology to fore. These companies are Halliburton, SLB, Baker, Tenaris, Technip FMC, Bristol, Niger Star 7, and what we are doing today is we want to use technology to pledge our support. To get 1 million barrels incremental, what you need is technology. Richmond introduced us as having been enablers in the industry. We're not going anywhere, we would remain enablers. The Executive Commissioner, we want to pledge our loyalty, our support. We know we have our challenges in the industry. We know from a contractor's perspective, the biggest challenge we have today is funding. And we trust that when we are done here, we'll be able to find a leeway to be able to support the marginal providers who basically, when they call on us, the first thing you hear is upfront payment. We know that's not sustainable. We want to be able to give them vendor financing from a contractor perspective. And we know with the support we have gotten today, we'll be able to do that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. Remember earlier today I did say that what we're looking for here is commitment to the vision, what the different entities are bringing to the table to help us achieve this increment that we're looking for in our crude production. Before I proceed, however, let me just quickly acknowledge the presence of the Chairman, House Committee on Upstream, Honorable Al-Hassan Ado Dogowa. Very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Okay, moving on swiftly to our next speaker. Now, our next speaker has been leading his agency in creating a robust atmosphere for the implementation of the PIA, as well as what you're witnessing today, committing and staying committed to helping our country and industry increase oil production. He's also led the agency in improving on data management and data transparency around the data repository of the country. Of course, stakeholder engagement has also been one of those areas he has been pushing his agency to succeed at. But most importantly, he has made that agency today a true business enabler, using technology as one of the means that earned the agency the best federal MDA in digital transformation from the Bureau of Public Service. Now let's welcome the man who is leading the vision of this 1 million barrel increment, the esteemed Commission Chief Executive,